It wasn't just a good first impression, it was a hype reel in real time. Many fans hadn't seen much of Sophie Cunningham before, but as soon as she took the mic, it was obvious why she was going to become a fan favorite. Sophie understood the assignment, and when she spoke to the media for the first time in Indy, she had Fever fans buzzing like kids on Christmas Eve who just spotted a PlayStation under the tree, except in this case, the PlayStation also talks trash and drains threes. Sophie isn't just a shooter or a scrappy wing, she gets what Caitlin is going through. She also understands the pressure the media puts on her and the weight of being the center of attention for an entire league, something no other WNBA player has ever experienced. Instead of avoiding it, Sophie is embracing it like a seasoned sidekick in a buddy cop movie that's a game changer. A while back, she joked that she would be the Sabrina Carpenter to Caitlin's Taylor Swift, but now that it seems more real, Sophie is the ideal player to, from what I'm seeing, we're looking at Caitlin Clark's number 2, and by that I mean the second most popular player on the Fever and possibly the league. The signs are everywhere, and it goes beyond personality. This could be a breakout year for Sophie, the perfect storm, making her one of the biggest names in the league. No one is really talking about it yet, but Sophie let it slip that Phoenix might not have been the best. Share, and in some cases, deflect the spotlight from Caitlin without demanding it herself. That's rare environment for her, and that there was some drama behind the scenes that held her back. I'll talk about that in a moment. The Fever are already the most watched team, playing in crowded arenas, receiving primetime coverage and getting more media attention than some NBA teams. Sophie is taking on a level of fame she has never experienced before, which is another reason why this season may be remembered by both the Fever and the WNBA. Let's start with what Sophie said that won everyone over. As you are aware, Sophie Cunningham was acquired. Through a trade that started an amazing free agency for the Fever, she, Natasha Howard, Sydney Colson, and Dana Boner bring a combination of championship pedigree, offensive firepower, defensive toughness, and a will to win, basically everything the Fever sorely needed last season. Sophie is known for being a sharpshooter from beyond the arc, but more than that, she's built her reputation on being a fierce competitor who doesn't back down from anyone. If there's a fight, Sophie is probably in the middle of it. She learned from the best spending. It wasn't all sunshine and roses during her time in Phoenix under recently retired GOAT Diana Taurasi. She's seen what it takes to win championships, the playoff grind, the mind games, and the moments when toughness prevails. However, last season there were rumors that she and teammate Natasha Cloud weren't exactly best friends, which is why Politics Cloud went on a full-on TikTok tirade about their differences. I tried to have open dialogue with her, but if that doesn't matter to you, you can't. Let's talk about why Fever fans are excited about this move. The main reason is that Sophie isn't afraid to mix it up, defend herself, and defend her teammates, which matters more in Indy than anywhere else. Now that both players have moved on from the Mercury, I won't speculate that this was the reason for one or both moves, but Sophie did let something slip in her media availability that suggests it might have played a part in that in a moment. The WNBA's clear-cut star, Caitlin Clark, is the reason for the league's ascent into relevance, sky-high viewership, best-ever attendance, and sky-high merchandise sales. This is the first time in WNBA history that players actually have hope going into a collective bargaining agreement, and it's all because of Caitlin. However, instead of appreciating the fact that she's revolutionizing the league, players' egos got in the way and Caitlin got hammered. No one on the Fever had her back, no one stepped in, and no one set the tone that sends a message, and this season that message is going to change, because now that the Fever has that player kick it to Cunningham 3 on the way is good, no foul is called, and now tempers are running high. Caitlin took more than her fair share of rough play, but look at her new arms. She's pumped up, ready to take the abuse and give it right back while drinking a quart of muscle milk. Sophie's sudden increase in media availability served as a reminder to everyone just what kind of player she is. She isn't a goon headhunting players like a hockey team from the 1970s, nor is she out there throwing sucker punches from behind like some other players. No team wants to sign, but she also doesn't let anyone take cheap shots without being told. That's the kind of grit that wins over teammates. And speaking of fans, I began this video by saying that Sophie is on the verge of becoming the second most popular player on the Fever. It was clear from the time she was traded that the fans liked her, but her recent media appearance was the final straw. There is one major issue I need to bring up with Fever fans, and specifically Caitlin Clark fans. They are tired of two things. First, they are tired of other players taking advantage of their star. both on and off the court, and second, they are tired of other players and the media claiming credit for what for a moment. Forget about the Kennedy Carter cheap shot. Caitlin was taking just as many hits off the court, including from the media, the owners, and her former teammates. They worked tirelessly to undermine her success, breaking every record and overrating every jaw-dropping highlight. After all else failed, they turned to the race card, but I won't go into too much detail because we've all seen it and know what's going on. The point is that this scrutiny wasn't just about her. It was personal to call out poor plays or off nights, and you can be sure Caitlin's fans saw right through it. That's why no one in Iowa City or Indigori is buying Cheryl Swoops a beer anytime soon, because at the end of the day, they can't handle the fact that Caitlin is receiving all the credit. Stats don't matter, clutch moments don't matter, ratings don't matter, ticket sales jersey numbers are irrelevant. They're not the one, and that's what drives them crazy. Take credit for what she's built, but in recent times we've seen players threatening to strike to get what they claim they deserve because of the leverage they claim they created. Subscribe if you know exactly who I'm referring to. Therefore, it goes without saying that anyone who stands up for Caitlin is an instant hero, and Sophie understood the assignment. She has changed our game in every way possible, so it would be nice to be with her and perhaps relieve some of the pressure in order to. Sophie is giving Caitlin credit for the unquestionable seismic impact she's had on the WNBA, while also acknowledging the hate she receives. Of course, people become skeptical when a player joins a new team and suddenly starts hyping up their new star teammate, which feels a little forced, a little pandering, but that's not the case here. So why does everyone hate Caitlin Clark and do what she says? I think Caitlin Clark is a gem, and I think she's handling the pressure really well. She's doing a lot of great things for women's basketball, and I'm a fan. Like, I'd love to play with her someday. Sophie has been vocally supporting Caitlin before, so this isn't new, and that authenticity is what fans are feeling, which is why she's already an instant fan favorite. If you're thinking, yeah, but that alone doesn't make Sophie the second most popular player on the team, let alone that Caitlin Clark's fan base is much more valuable than most people realize, and this is evidenced by the fact that Indiana Fever games account for 45% of all WNBA broadcast value, which is almost half of the league's TV revenue. Last year, Caitlin's fans purchased over 340,000 tickets, with the average attendance of over 177,000 per game, which completely outstrips every other team. She now packs 15,000-seat arenas for preseason games, and other teams are upgrading to venues that are 2 to 5 times larger just to accommodate the Caitlin Clark crew. We all know that Caitlin Clark led the league in jersey sales, but look who was sitting at number 4. Kate Martin, a second-round draft pick who averaged less than 3 points per game last year, sold more jerseys than the league MVP. Why? Even though team owners won't acknowledge it, like the Atlanta Dream owner hilariously claimed that there was a scheduling conflict that fans are still laughing at, this is 100% because of Caitlin. Now you might be asking, what? She was a teammate of Caitlin Clark when she played for Iowa hockey, so if the state of Iowa can get Kate Martin's jersey to number 4 in the league, just think of how many Sophie Cunningham jerseys will be flying off the shelves now that she's supporting Caitlin both on and off the court and bringing the energy that fans love. Don't look now, but her jersey is already sold out. I just mentioned putting up solid numbers because you can't just talk the talk, you have to perform. Based on what we've heard from her, there are all the indications that we could see some great performances ahead. Sophie is a knockdown shooter and usually scores about 8 points per game, so she probably won't score as many points as Caitlin Clark, Danana Boner, or Kelsey Mitchell, but could we see her stats jump this year? I think honestly, just being here, I've already been motivated. Like, I know this is a new fresh start. I'm not in the box anymore. Like, I can finally be free, and being an offense that I think I can really thrive in and be around players who our mind is strictly on basketball and winning. Sometimes players just need a change of scenery to elevate their game, and you could hear throughout that clip why Phoenix might not have been the best fit for her. The Mercury style wasn't necessarily designed for her skill set. The team's fast-paced run-and-gun style, combined with their firepower, will be a nightmare for opposing defenses. But here's where things get really interesting. Did you hear her say that at the end of the day, I want to be a good leader, a great teammate, and someone who brings the culture, peace, and make sure our egos are set aside and that we're all in this to win, and I think that's going to be fairly easy with the group that we have. Let me remind you about the drama with Natasha Natasha Cloud that I showed earlier. Is this what she was referring to? No one really talks about it, but rifts and distractions in the locker room can split teams apart, and no matter how professional players try to be, drama can and will affect their performance on the court. Therefore, when Sophie says she's free, it sounds like she's talking about more than just basketball. Free from the drama too, and this wasn't just a one-time remark, it was a theme she repeatedly brought up. However, to be honest, my initial thought was, oh yeah, like we're gonna go win a championship, and that's exactly what Fever fans want to hear. This season there has been a lot of talk about protecting the locker room, and while fans weren't exactly thrilled about the signing of Brianna Turner due to her Twitter fingers, you have to hope that this leadership group has created an ego-free team where drama isn't tolerated, because I've talked about supporting Caitlin and playing a key role on the court role, but she's also likable and incredibly camera-friendly. I won't post the bikini photo shoots because that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about how she carries herself in interviews and her demeanor in this sense. Sophie performs better when you have a team that is locked in, working together and drama-free, natural and at ease in front of the camera, which enables her to be approachable and interact with the media, which encourages them to cover her and gives you more airtime. This is important because if the media is talking about you, the fans are listening, but this isn't even what she's looking for. She said, "You know, I'm really excited, and I didn't come here for the spotlight, didn't come here to have more eyes. I came here to win, but handling the media, being visible and being part of the community is part of the game. It's a necessity, it's essential." Sophie may not have been well known in Phoenix, but let's face it, players without Caitlin Clark's name aren't well known either. Other WNBA teams don't sell out NBA arenas as Caitlin does wherever she plays in Indiana, which is officially the epicenter of women's basketball. It carries far more weight than any other WNBA market, and Caitlin Clark's fans are on another level. Sophie herself stated that the Fever are currently one of the most watched teams in the world, and as a result, everyone is paying attention to Caitlin. Don't underestimate the Caitlin Clark effect. She attracts casual fans like never before, and those fans are incredibly loyal and protective. I've made a lot of videos. They're paying attention to the Fever now. If you agree or disagree, leave a check or an X in the comments. However, I believe Sophie is poised to become one of the league's most popular players. She's saying the right things with the right attitude while being likable, composed, and polished in interviews. That's a skill she's been honing it for years. If Sophie leads, makes Caitlin better on the court, and steps up when Caitlin needs backup, she's not only going to be popular in Indy but also become a household name among basketball fans. Don't undervalue the power of Caitlin Clark and Fever fans to turn a Fever favorite into a league favorite. About the Kate haters and what happens to them, they get eviscerated by her fans. It's the other way around. It's entertaining to watch everything happen. If you're still here, throw a basketball in the comments. Thank you for seeing.